This video is about Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is currently the richest man in the world, with a net worth of anywhere from $140 to $150 billion. He's one of the few men to hear Dr. Evil demand $100 billion and think he should aim a bit higher. He attended Princeton University and spent some time working at a hedge fund on Wall Street. He then moved to Seattle and, while working out of his garage, started up a small book-selling website called Amazon. The site has grown into an absolute monolith, and Bezos still enjoys 16% ownership in it, along with all the perks of being its CEO. There's a lot one can do with $150 billion, and Bezos has spent his money in plenty of interesting ways. Here are the top 10 things Jeff Bezos spends his money on. The largest house in Washington, D.C. In 2016, Bezos purchased the largest mansion in Washington, D.C., paying $23 million in cash to make it his own. It's actually an old textile museum and consists of two homes, entitled The Pope and The Wood, respectively. Both are over 100 years old and connected by a walkway. Overall, the mansion stretches out over 27,000 square feet, which you might think would be more than enough for anybody. Jeff Bezos, however, would disagree, as his goal is to make the place even bigger. In April 2018, the Washingtonian obtained blueprints for the extension Bezos has in mind for his new, not-so-humble abode. Costing an additional $12 million, Bezos is looking to add until his mansion has 25 bathrooms, 11 bedrooms, 5 living rooms, 3 kitchens, and a gigantic ballroom, among other amenities. Bezos wants his home to be the ultimate in DC socializing, and with digs like that, he's sure to meet his goal. But a globe-trotting celebrity like Bezos can't simply settle for one house. Rather, his DC mansion is simply his 5th home, as he currently owns estates all across the United States. He owns a 2-home property in Medina, Washington State, a 2-home property in Beverly Hills, California, a ranch house in Van Horn, Texas, and several condos in Central Park, New York City, along with his DC mega mansion. The space race. Running Amazon isn't Jeff Bezos' only passion. He also, much like fellow billionaires Elon Musk and Richard Branson, is fascinated with space, particularly space tourism. This fascination was sparked when Bezos was just 5 years old and watched the Apollo moon landings. And in 2000, Bezos founded the company Blue Origin, whose goal is to someday make space travel affordable for all. Recognizing that sending people into space is expensive, Bezos sells off roughly $1 billion of Amazon stock every year to fund Blue Origin, reports the New York Times. The venture appears to be paying off, as their 9th test flight on July 18, 2018, carried actual people 393,000 feet into the air, past the 380,000-foot mark that is considered the border between Earth and space. The company hopes to have actual customers touring space sometime in 2019. Bezos' love of space isn't limited to mere tourism. He also uses his money to preserve space travel's past. As an example, in 2013, he financed the recovery of pieces of rocket engines from those pivotal Apollo missions that landed men on the moon. These pieces had sunk 14,000 feet down in the Atlantic Ocean, deeper than even the Titanic had sunk. One of these pieces, a restored F-1 booster from Apollo 12, was donated by NASA to Seattle's Museum of Flight in 2015, at Bezos' request. A Gulfstream G65ER jet. For someone worth such an insane amount of money, it's surprising that Jeff Bezos' personal methods of transportation are so humble. Most famously, after taking Amazon public and amassing over $12 billion in the process, Bezos still insisted on driving to work in the most modest of vehicles, a 1996 Honda Accord. By 2013, he was still driving a simple Honda, albeit a bigger one. It's all part of his drive, too. As he explained to 60 Minutes in 1999, spend money on things that matter to customers, and not spending money on things that don't. But that doesn't mean Bezos is completely devoted to frugality in his travels. He spares no expense for occasions when driving a Honda simply won't cut it, such as when he must fly. Not only does Bezos take a private jet, he owns said jet through his holding company, Poplar Glen. It's a top-of-the-line 2015 Gulfstream G650ER, valued at an incredible $65 million, and has been touted as the longest-range business jet in the world. According to the Robb Report, it can reach speeds of Mach 0.925 or 704 miles an hour, and can travel 7,500 nautical miles without needing to refuel. The plane's insides are pure luxury, with incredible spacious and comfortable seating, as well as a cabin that gets completely new fresh air every 2 minutes. So many investments. It's hard to spend $150 billion on yourself, so Jeff Bezos instead spends it on multiple investments across various fields. He even has a website, bezosexpeditions.com, devoted to tabulating his many investments. As is befitting a man who made his billions online, Bezos is big on investing in technology, particularly the kind that helps connect people and keep them informed. He's put money into Twitter, given over $50 million in venture capital to Business Insider, and invested in social platforms like Teach Street, which helps provide students with information about classes and teachers in their area, ZocDoc, which helps people find affordable doctors in their area, and Nextdoor, a social media site devoted to happenings in one's local neighborhood. Bezos' investments often pay off greatly. In the case of Workday, its initial public offering after going public, thanks to Bezos' investment, earned the company $684 million. Bezos is also a fan of investing in travel companies as well. He put $112 million into financing Airbnb and invested $35 million into Uber. Then there's the more traditional investments, such as print news. Through his group Nash Holdings LLC, Bezos purchased the Washington Post in 2013 for what was reported as $250 million. Since then, he's worked to change the Post from a traditional and declining ink and paper business into a web-savvy and data-driven company that, in 2016, published over 1,200 articles a day. Interestingly enough, Bezos doesn't just invest in future-sounding tech. He also has an affinity for traditional retail, as evidenced by his investment in Glassy Baby. They make handcrafted glass bone holders for votive candles, those short, thick candles often seen at a church. And something about them clearly caught Bezos' eye.